I'm thrilled to have Eric Stackpole here. He's the co-founder of OpenROV, which is a remotely operated vehicle.
That's right. Yep.
But this one's a little different. This isn't a remote control car. It's not a drone. This is underwater.
No, we're on the other side of the service from all those other ones, and it's a lot more interesting down there, in my opinion.
And open hardware.
That's right. We really believe in sharing a lot of our development ideas. So we've come up with a kit that we've been selling for the last few years, which is all open source. You can build it yourself. And Trident, this project we've been working on for the last year or two, also has a lot of really cool technology that we're going to push into the open source community, and hopefully people can use that.
What's your background? Is it from the underwater exploration or for hardware? Or?
Oh, yeah. Well, I studied mechanical engineering. But moreover, I've always been a geek, right? I love tinkering.
Right.
And what really fascinates me is telerobotics. This idea that you can send a device, usually with a camera that sends video back to anywhere you want and control it. It's like playing a video game, but real life. So, you know, in college, I had this robot I called Esther, Eric Stackpole Telepresence Rover. And it was the height of a person. It had a camera on it, and I could drive it around in the engineering building from the dorm room, so I wouldn't have to put pants on that
loved
day.
you.
Nice.
Yeah. Mostly people just put it in the girls' bathroom and lock the door.
Here comes Stackpole like
People, right.
Put him in that drum.
Yeah. But the idea that you can explore or be in a place that you wouldn't be able to go yourself, I think, is extremely powerful.
Nice.
And kind of my goal is to help promote the potential that has, particularly in the realm of exploration.
You're over there by the ROV. Tell me about that, Ian. It's kind of cool.
It's marvelous. I mean, the thing looks like an extended teardrop. It's not too heavy. You've got all these mounting points on the bottom that you could put stuff on. A central up and down propeller there, and then two at the back. Now, how much current can this deal with? I mean, the sea is notoriously current-ridden. I mean, how fast can it move?
Not electrical, but water, ocean currents.
Yeah.
Ocean current. Yeah. Well, it can go at 2 meters per second. That's the speed of Michael Phelps.
2 meters a second.
And you know,
Michael Phelps against this, that would be something.
If anyone knows someone who can set that race up, I'm willing to do it.
Yeah.
But you know what that really translates into is current penetration, like you've described. You know, being fast is kind of fun if you're flying in you know, still water. But what it really means is if you're out in a slow-moving river or a place where there's tidal currents, you can penetrate through that, and that allows you to go in places that even a scuba diver might have trouble diving.
Indeed, and you've obviously engineered it for low drag coefficient. So I mean, and these motors will drive it through at that kind of speed. You should be fine with any.
Is this 3D printed? It looks like it might be.
This particular one is urethane cast. We have a lot of prototypes that we're using.
Like
ultimately.
This.
Yeah, this is definitely a prototype, just to show you a kind of concept. But ultimately, it's going to be injection molded, and that means we can make many thousands of them at a very reliable, low-cost
And what kind of cable is that?
This is a special tether that we've developed. It's neutrally buoyant. It's got this foamed polyurethane around it, so it kind of just floats like hair. It doesn't get stuck on things, and it's Kevlar reinforced. It can handle a kilonewton, or about 300 pounds. And a lot of people ask, well, why do you have the tether? I'm used to drones being wireless.
Right.
But the problem is that water stops radio waves from traveling, especially at the frequencies you need for video. So the only way to get live video up to the surface is through the tether. But that segues well into this 3D printed thing. We're working now, this is a kind of an early version, but we're working now on this radio buoy. And instead of the tether going up to your computer or whatever you're controlling device with, it goes to this, and it can be towed by the vehicle. So, you know, picture you don't even have a boat, but you go to some place, you could lob this over the waves, and you know, this will just get towed behind it. You don't even need the boat. You could be on shore and wirelessly control it that way.
So it's like a underwater drone. Why underwater? Is that?
You know, there's something. Think of aerial drones
more
these days. It's definitely more challenging. When this is at full depth, which is 100 meters, there's 12,000 pounds of force pushing these plates together. It's tremendous, and the engineering has to be flawless. We've spent a huge amount of time doing that. Yeah, I mean, the thing that really excites me about going underwater is that you can see things no one has seen before.
Well, so here we're at the bottom. This is Lake Tahoe, right?
That's right. This is actually a dive we just recently did of a 1800s era steamship in 400 feet of water, the SS Tahoe. And she sank in the 1940s. She was deliberately scuttled, and hardly anyone's seen her since. She's on a 30-degree slope, so the bow is pointing straight up this slope. And it was just incredible.
This looks like video from Alvin. This looks like video of the Titanic. What kind of camera is on here?
We spent a huge amount of time on the camera. It is a HD camera with extremely good color rendition and low light sensitivity. It's custom made for us. We spent about 6 months doing development. But yeah, I mean, it's just vivid. You have almost a better view than you would in person. This is a sink. We went into a bathroom on the ship, and we landed on this sink. And And then afterward, we looked at the toilet. You can see the seats left up. Clearly, a guy was the last person to use it. But I mean, this is incredible.
Look like a dive bar toilet.
Yeah. But I mean, the fact that we're able to go look around this ship that hardly anyone has seen, and we did it in an inflatable boat, you know?
Also, in Lake Tahoe, which is so frigid, you don't want to spend seconds in there that you don't have to. So having something like this, no scuba diver is going to go down and check this out. And you've given us a view of something that no one's ever going to be seeing.
I think you're right, and I think this is just the beginning. You know, there are more than 100 shipwrecks in San Francisco Bay alone. A lot of people don't realize there's so much down there waiting to be explored, and we're going to allow everyone to be an explorer. That's the new era of exploration that we're trying to be a part of.
This must have been, how much did you sink into the investment in this?
Well, you mean for this dive?
No, this project, OpenROV.
Well, we've done Kickstarter projects. We did our first Kickstarter project in 2012, and that was before Kickstarter was a big deal. We made $100,000 selling these kits. And then recently we finished a Kickstarter project for Trident. We wanted to raise $50,000. We closed that in 2 minutes and made about $800,000.
Nice.
That being said, it's still, you know, it takes a lot of money to do hardware projects. So, you know, we're still trying to pre-sell them, get them up, because
you got a good team. There's 10 people on the team. There's NASA alums, a big 7,000 member community. People are doing modifications and so forth. How much would it cost to buy my own OpenROV? You listen to this carefully, Lisa. Ian.
I know. I'm already marshalling arguments in my head.
Yeah. You got to convince
Who
it the
needs
right
holidays?
way. Well, we already sell the kits now in our store for about $900, and this is going to go for $1,500. We're doing a pre-sale right now, so if you're buying it and not getting it right away, it's discounted a few $100s. I think it's about $1,200.
Nice. So this is the same cost as a good drone, frankly.
Yeah. That's the idea we're going for.
But it doesn't have some of the problems that you get with aerial drones, and that this feeds power through to it, so you're not limited to like 20 minutes flight time. You could have some serious exploration with this, I would have thought.
Well, Trident actually does have onboard batteries, so you don't need to send power down the tether. But of course, that's also a possibility that you could have it run indefinitely. But we have 4 hours of battery life.
Plenty.
So that's enough.
Compared to 20 minutes of flight time, that's good.
And the other thing is we don't have all the regulations that aerial drones do. You know, we're not going to be bothering people by flying over their heads or spying on people. You know, some mermaids might get upset, but that's about it.
Well, you know, they're notoriously picky.
I mean, the video quality is stunning. Of course, Tahoe's very clear, right?
Yeah. Now this is something I don't have images of this to date, but one of the things we're working on right now is computer vision, and there's actually some stuff you can do by adjusting contrast, doing a lot of other kind of filtering that can allow you to actually see a higher quality image than you would if you're just looking through the wire. With your eyes. It's processing it and bringing up that contrast. And the difference is pretty staggering if you look into these dehazing filters that are starting to come out. And so we have a guy now who's really interested in that, who's been working on that software.
If anybody's done underwater photography, you know backscatter is a huge problem. You have the lights and the light bounces off of debris in the water, and it really. This looks so good. You do have lights, obviously.
Yeah. Actually, I've got this one's running right now.
So you got it running. Oh,
yeah,
nice.
I've got it. So you can see I'm turning up the lights now. That's what these little holes on the side are.
So there's 6 LEDs on it.
Yeah. So if you're doing,
they're pretty bright.
They're really bright. Yeah. In total, it comes out to about 600 lumens, just under the brightness of a car headlight.
Wow.
Okay. And so if you're penetrating a shipwreck dive or going into a cave, or if you're deep enough that light doesn't get that deep.
I was going to say, the kind of depths this can get to, light doesn't. So
yeah, no, that's absolutely true. I mean, this can go to 100 meters. It's a football field straight down.
Wow.
By contrast, a scuba diver, recreational scuba diver, rarely goes beyond like maybe 30 meters.
Yeah, and even then you've got decompression stops on the way up.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a huge deal thing, right? So this is looking at parts of the world that no one has ever seen before, fundamentally new exploration, and you need lights because it's pitch black. Light in the middle of the day doesn't make it down that deep.
You control it with a PC, you have Windows software, and I love it, PlayStation controller.
PlayStation. Well, that's actually a really good question. It's one of the things we're really proud of, and the nerdy guys like me who are watching this are really going to love it. There's no software on my computer or on my smartphone or whatever I use to control this. This actually is hosting a web server from the ROV.
I love it.
So whether you have a Mac or a PC or
it's
an Android,
it's not Windows specific.
No, all you need is Chrome and Wi-Fi. So you log into the web server hosted from this. We've got a Raspberry Pi 3 on board, and you can control it with any device you like.
That's
Wow.
fantastic. Could
So
you hook a
including your phone.
VR rig up to it?
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay, this is going to get really hard not to get one of these.
It's hard for me not to talk about the VR and stuff like that. You know, we've done like basic demos, and it's so tantalizing. We're like, no, we need to focus on getting the solid thing work. We've done some trials with a Gear VR headset,
Right.
And it's an extremely immersive feeling. I'm a scuba diver.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, picture taking the cockpit of a 747 with you in a briefcase. That's what it feels like, because you have all of your dials and gadgets around, and then you have your big screen view of the.
That's not available
I've
yet.
already
That's
got
a
the Gear
prototype.
VR.
Well, we're working on it, but you know, a lot of our software is done openly. That's the whole idea. You can go to our GitHub page. I think it's github.com/OpenROV. And you can see the code that we're developing. The VR headset plugin, I think, should be ready around the time that we ship this, and I think that's going to get a lot of people excited.
So you could bring your Gear, your Gear VR, your Galaxy phone, and let's go. Let's go. We're going. We're going.
It's just.
We're going. We'll go off Sutro, off the point there in the San Francisco Bay. We could dive down. There's got to be wrecks out there.
There's probably treasure.
There's an aircraft carrier sunk just outside of the San Francisco Bay. They dumped it out there in the 1950s.
Let's go.
I've always wanted to see what it was.
They were just looking at that with Nautilus Live, which is this ship, and actually that brings up a topic that's really interesting to me too, which is the final kind of feather in my hat about the technology we developed here, and that is that this is also going to be internet enabled, which means that you don't even necessarily need to be where the ROV is to fly it. You could have your friend who's on a trip in Barbados flying his ROV, and you could go diving with him. So that internet control, like Nautilus Live does, where they were diving on that aircraft carrier, is going to be something we can do too. And I am so excited about that. It could be the new type of video game, but instead of flipping bits, you're flipping rocks.
I'm impressed how mature this is. This really is.
No, you seem to have got a lot of the problems sorted out on it.
Yeah.
It's
We have a really excellent team. I mean, we hire extremely slowly. I'll fly anywhere in the world to get the very, very best people. So we have an 11-person team right now, but every single person is handpicked and they're world class. And that, I think, is really what has allowed us to go so far.
Robert, you want one of those? All right. I think Father Robert may be doing our diving for us. That is really great. Where can people find out more about OpenROV?
So you can find out more on our website, which is openrov.com. And of course, if you look at our YouTube channel or anything like that, you'll see all sorts of videos that people have posted using their ROVs to explore cool stuff.
So no permit required, no oversight. You can just go off a pier and throw this in the water.
Yeah, that's right. It's
what's down there.
Yeah, it's kind of the Wild West. There really aren't any regulations.
There shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there's no hazard here.
well, around sort of people's swimming areas, maybe.
Well,
but,
let's
you know.
not be
Yeah, or if you're
creepy
close to
about it.
military vessels and things.
Yeah.
But
you can scuba dive anywhere.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
this
that's true.
This is the virtual scuba diving, right?
And that's also something we really want to lean into. You know, any new technology brings with it, you know, the risk that it could cause problems. One of the things we really want to be careful about, it's the same problem with scuba diving, is microbial transport. If you take it from one place to another, you could bring
clean it
things
thoroughly
across.
afterwards.
And we've been a part of some papers that talk about that. There's some other, just general safety things. If you're flying near coral reefs that are really sensitive, you want to be careful. But this can actually go where a lot of scuba divers would be a lot more of a problem,
Right.
Because it's so small and so
Right.
lightweight.
Right.
And you don't want it to touch coral, whereas a lot of scuba divers will just, I just brushed against it.
Yeah, you move your fin and it just blows everything.
right.
So this is lightweight. And also, if you go up to fish, we have video footage of flying right next to these fish, and they don't mind it. You would never see that environment if you were a scuba diver, because they see this big thing and they move away.
They think you're, what, a little manta ray or something, just flying around. Look
No,
at that.
they'll actually circle around it sometimes. So you're seeing the underwater world in a way no one ever has.
Yeah, I've got to say, I mean, it looks fantastic. And honestly, if people are prepared to watch other people playing video games, think how much more interested they're going to be in watching
Because
them
you never know
explore.
what's going to happen. It's nature. It's not what some programmer put in there and you found.
Exactly. You get a moray eel coming out of the side of that, so wah!
Yeah, I mean, it's all possible. I mean, this is a shipwreck also in Lake Tahoe, and we found it and we were looking around and we noticed that the hatch was open, and it shows a little bit later, but we saw there's this open hatch, and everyone who was with me was like, all right, that looks really cool, you should look into it, but you should not go in there because you'll get stuck. I said, don't worry, I will not go into the ship. And then we got really close to the hatch. I was like, I'm just going to go in. And we
Just a quick look.
Yeah. So I know what the inside of this sunken sailboat looks like, and I've never seen it with my own eyes. I love these kinds of adventures. And what happens if you multiply that by 10,000?
Wow.
Oh, fantastic.
OpenROV, it's what a cool thing. At $1,200 for pre-order, this is also fairly affordable compared to a drone. This would be a great wonderful thing.
I may have to blow the budget.
I know.
If you got kids, right? You know, like instead of playing video games, get them to go explore real life.
The hell with having kids. I am a kid.
This is better. This is better. Who needs a kid? I got this.
Yeah.
Eric, nice to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I love your
Nice to meet you,
enthusiasm,
Eric.
and I love what you've done. OpenROV, it all fits in this case.
Yeah,
You could
fit
take
it
with
under
you.
the seat in front of you on an airplane.
Amazing. Just amazing.